Good morning, everyone, and thanks very much for tuning in to the second podcast of the series. Today I'm proper excited, primarily because we've got three bearded brothers that are on the call, so we're all matching, apart from on top for me, unfortunately. So yeah, we've got not just one guest to do today, we've got two guests. Both absolute heroes of their own right in the rugby world, and I'm going to attempt a bit of an introduction. Hopefully I can do it a little bit of justice, and I think I'll start off with our first guest, Mr. Sean O'Loughlin. Unfortunately, as we're on a free Zoom today because finance are getting a little bit tight, Sean's introduction might take slightly longer than our 40-minute session, so but I'll try and keep it condensed as possible. He's played for Great Britain. He's captained England. He's attended multiple World Cups. Been capped for Wigan Warriors over 450 times. He's been named in the Super League Dream Team no less than 7 times. I think 5 consecutive seasons in a row. 10 trophies. 4 grand finals. He's also been described as probably one of the most genuine and humble players in the sport today. I hope I have done it justice. He's also on the way upstairs to become assistant head coach. Is that right, Sean, of Wigan Warriors?
Yeah, I'm joining the dark side this time.
Oh, mate, how's that been received?
It's from my point of view, transition is going really well. I'm kind of sat below. There's 2 assistants in Matty Peat and John Winder, and I'm kind of tapping into them, and they're learning me the ropes. I'm going to get a chance to look after some of the younger end of the squad, the first team squad, and yeah, just learn on the job. I've been involved I've done bits with the academy for a number of years now, so I know a lot of the lads who've come through already. And yeah, at present there's only about half the squad in, so over the next few weeks, more senior lads get in, so I'll probably start copping it a little bit more then.
Brilliant. And we'll touch probably just on the transition a wee bit more later, but I wanted to take the time to introduce our second guest, someone who, granted, his Wikipedia page is slightly shorter, but I think Scott Burns, someone who's the foundation of rugby, he's sort of epitomises, I think, what the sport means in terms of community and what it's really all about from a grassroots level. He's fully embedded in the community as part of the Wigan Warriors team, head coach of the physical and learning disabilities team for Wigan Warriors, and I need to mention this, he's an award-winning coach, and we'll touch on the award-winning part later, mate, because I think that's the only award you have that maybe Sean doesn't have quite yet. So congratulations already on that one. You're one up already.
Yeah, well, one up. I don't know about one up. I think he's a few ahead of me, but yeah, I've got that one. It's just on the shelf at the side of my desk here. So,
is it, mate? Is there a chance we can see it later? Will the arms?
Yeah, I'll pull it out. No worries.
Nice, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Listen, guys, thanks very much for joining us in this short series of hopefully light entertainment. Sean, I just want to kick off you. I think you touched on it briefly about half the squad being in. Let's how you're in week 2 or week 3 of pre-season so far?
Yeah, week 3. So the first 2 weeks was literally the kind of the pups, the new lads, transition squad almost. Then they were joined this week by a few more boys, and then next week it'll be the majority of lads, bar a couple of the overseas players who got maybe a week or 2 longer off. But yeah, so that kind of always how it works. The boys filter in, and which is good for me, not just chucked in straight at the deep end with a squad of 40 lads in there. It's been good to kind of learn what I'm doing these first couple of weeks and then add to
that. How have you sort of been dealing with the restrictions in terms of, you know, training and putting together training plans for the guys? Has that been?
Yeah, it's pretty much where we was in the first lockdown. We started to come out of that and we've gone back a few steps into protocols, and so the things were in place. It's just maybe tightening a few things up again a little bit. Training's active. When you're wrestling and things like that, obviously you try to alter that. So if anyone does come down with it, then you're not taking half the squad away down with you. It's just a close contact, trying to keep them to a minimum, and by that, you try to crack on as normal, and then just being around the place in general, wearing masks, looking after each other.
What's the sort of general feeling in the squad? Is it positive? Are you having to work a bit harder to keep the positivity, or do you find that the guys are naturally?
Do you know what, the lads who aren't in are ready and are buzzing to get back in. There's not a lot to do away from the place, so it's not like they can go on holiday everywhere, and it's not like your normal downtime where you can get away with your family. There's nothing happening, so the boys are ready to come back in, and I think they're appreciative of the fact that we can come in. The first lockdown, we did have to have that kind of 5-6 weeks away where we weren't doing anything. We had to look after yourself, find your own stuff. So I think to be allowed to still carry on and work in the elite environment, which they've given the go-ahead to get back in here, I think the boys see it as a bit of a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott, your team, have you guys able to get together at any point yet, or are you having to sort of coach via Zoom and keep in touch? What are you guys up to?
Yeah, our last kind of physical session together down here at Robin Park was in November, I think it was, just before the new lot of restrictions came in. That was just with the physical disability team, because they were allowed to obviously do some disability sport. The learning disability, because of the bubbles and the kind of restrictions, and they've got parents and carers and other little kind of caring bubbles. We haven't seen them for over 12 months now, in person. So it is now kind of gone back to both squads being virtual. So we still meet at the same times as we would train every Friday, just to keep that routine going. Through the week, they've got challenges set up by myself and my assistant coaches, so they're keeping fit, they're keeping active, they're keeping engaged. But there's a big kind of social element to that that's quite important as well. Just like Sean just said, the lads, they just want to get out. You know what I mean? Being at home, it's nothing to do. You know what I mean? There's nowhere to go. The restrictions are quite tight. So socially, we're just having quizzes, having chats, just catching up on each other. I'll ring up one of the players, either the captain, have a chat with him for 5-10 minutes, and then I'll just say, just give Carl a ring, see how he's doing. It kind of chain effect. So by the end of the evening, all the squads have had a phone call from somebody else. So we're just keeping in touch with that, because it's the social bit and it's the mental health stuff as well. That's kind of more present now than the rugby. The rugby will pick up whenever it does.
Yeah, I was going to say we can always, hopefully we'll get back to throwing a ball about as quick as possible. But that brilliant to hear about the social and mental piece, because I think, I also think that lockdown 1 compared to, I don't even know what we're on now, lockdown 3 or something like 4. I don't know about you guys, but this last round of lockdowns, I think for a lot of people sitting in the house, the weather outside's pretty horrendous, and it's not particularly sort of conducive to getting out and getting as active as possible. I think a lot of people are struggling, so it's really good to hear that also the rest of the squad are doing are also calls, and that keeps them socially interactive. So it's absolutely brilliant. Well done. What a brilliant initiative. I do want to touch on the award, mate, because I think it's an important one, and congratulations massively on the award. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about it, and if we can see?
Yeah, it was the Changing Lives Award for the UK coaching, so it's coaches all the way through the United Kingdom get nominated for what they do with the teams, with the clubs, up a variety of different sports, athletics, golf, cricket, whatever. And the category that I won, the Changing Lives Award, was kind of obviously predominantly with working with the disability team, keeping them engaged, like we just spoke about, really, the mental health side of it, the social side of it, that camaraderie that they've kind of, gathered as a team through 2 or 3 years of playing together, and just keeping them going, keeping them active in society. And it kind of touched on a bit of the work before lockdown kind of hit us, of what I do with players when they come down for trials and they get onto the squads, kind of coaching the person rather than the rugby. I mean, the rugby's secondary, really. It's something, it's a skill that can be learned. A lot of them missed out on that opportunity either at school or through the disability. They couldn't take part in a community game, or a missing limb or something like that. So it's just helping that person grow, achieve some goals. Wanting to play for Wigan, they can. They can pull the Wigan shirt on, can represent the the 10 team. There are now opportunities to represent the country in the World Cup coming up. It's kind of about building the player and the person as well. So the rugby side of it, and then the actual, the personal side of it. So that's what I got nominated for. I was lucky enough to win it. So it was a big surprise.
Congratulations, mate. It's amazing and genuinely really well deserved. Well done. Sean, mate, if I can, I'm going to jump back over to you if that's all right. I think that we could probably interview you all day and probably not even touch the sides. And I appreciate you guys' time is really valuable right now. Just be really good if you just take us back. How did you get started? Where did it all begin? And then sort of even turning pro. Talk us through a wee bit.
Kind of majority of my family, the lads anyway, played rugby. So my dad played professional, semi-professional at the time. His brother did. My brother went he went through the academy system. I think he come through at Saints, but for me I never really got pushed into it. I just kind of, all my mates at school played the game, so it was you join in. First games were at school. Then high school, joined an amateur team, and things just progressed from there. I was a decent player, and then kind of scouts kind of start watching you, start staying passed around. And the team I played in, amateur Wigan sent past, I think there was probably about 13 or 14 of the lads went on to sign academy contracts with people. So it was a strong side, and yeah, things kind of progressed from there. I signed at Wigan when I left school, and then years in the academy, and then got a first team contract when I was 19, and then things just kind of progressed from there, kept going. So it was quite a straightforward process and a route. It's kind of what kids kind of try to do now. You do well in your amateur game, you get picked up by your club, then you progress through the academy, and it was A team at the time for me, but it's kind of academy and reserves at present. And yeah, lucky enough, the first couple of years I did well, and I think 2004ish, 5ish, I was pretty much playing regular for Wigan, and I've got an international debut as well. So, pretty straightforward.
What if there's probably very difficult to sort of narrow it into sort of one career high, I suppose. But if there is a sort of career high that you've got, is there anything that really stands out, or even a couple of career?
Yeah, I think your debuts are always big. The first time I played, let's talk about putting a jersey on. The first, as a kid, it used to be town team. Getting to put a Wigan jersey on as a town team player, under 11s was massive, and then getting to that as an academy player was big. First team again, and internationally, they all kind of you tick one off and you're looking for the next one. But I think one of the highlights for me was I'd come through as someone who watched Wigan win loads of trophies, winning stuff regular. I got in the first team as a 19-year-old lad in 2002. Wigan won something that year. I weren't involved in it. I was kind of on the fringes, didn't play in it, but was in the squad. So I experienced it, and then got to a couple of finals after that. I didn't win it. So from 2002, I went to 2010 before I won something. So that first time getting my hands on something as a player and as captain at the time as well, that was probably one of the most special times. Other than your debuts, I think the first trophy I got my hands on as a kid who'd grown up watching Wigan win stuff. It was a big relief for me that I'd won something playing for the team as well.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Have you got any weird or strange pre-match rituals that everybody's got something they touch, or?
Do you know what? I've not, but then I think I'm probably go the other way. I try not to have them, so I then end up doing stuff slightly different, just so I don't do them. If I've done something, the only thing I do regularly, or used to do regularly, was I have a bit of a sequence where I strap my thumbs up. So I rip all the tape up, put it on the wall, strap my thumbs in a certain way. By that, I think that's probably the only thing.
Surely you must have somebody that does that for you, no? Is that not? Is that
I just feel because it's your hands and you've got your hands on the ball. I always like doing my old fingers and thumbs and get the pressure right.
That's brilliant. Who's I'd asked. We've got a couple. There's a few sort of rugby players that are. My background's rugby union. Don't.
Yeah.
So I'd asked a few players. Who's the worst roommate?
Oh, well, staff side of things. No, I don't know yet. I've not had to room many of them, so I'll have to wait and see on that one. Player. I'm not actually roomed with this lad, but there's like Liam Marshall, one of our wingers, one of the young boys. And not that he'd be a bad roommate, but I think he's just a bit hyperactive. So I think you won't get a minute with him. He's having a chatting, a singing, acting. He's just bouncing off the walls.
Brilliant. Scott, can I jump over back to you if I can, mate? You guys, Wigan, I think, are sort of leaders in the community piece, really embedded in the community and the community foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about, as a club, what you guys do for the community, but also how have the restrictions changed that, if any?
It was quite tough coming back in. The management group came back in September last year, just to try and pick things back up again. There's obviously the school delivery that comes under the community. There's the disability sessions. There's other community sessions that we work with. So it's kind of trying to pick it back up and see what we could do. Getting back into schools was a big thing. Schools managers worked really hard to try and get us back into primary schools, secondary schools. Again, the restrictions there, with how many staff they want in school, how many kids are in school, the bubbles. So that's been really hard. We have adapted quite well. A lot of resources are now kind of virtual, like I do with the disability teams. So it's kind of keeping in contact with the schools, making sure they've got stuff to do. Kind of team teaching, which is going to be picked up quite soon. So the school will log in to a Zoom call with one of the community coaches, who usually goes in there and delivers the PE sessions, and they'll kind of deliver it virtually. So the kids will be doing their activity in school while the coaches either in the office or more than likely sat at home on the couch with a brew at the side of them, which is nice. But the kids are still getting the activity, and the fitness levels are staying kind of where they want them to be, because that's kind of a big issue over society, really, and the community, not just the schools, that people aren't getting out doing anything anymore. And yeah, you can go for a walk and stuff like that, but it's usually better in a group. I mean, people will meet up, play five-a-side football, have a game of tick and pass, do whatever. All the usual activities have stopped. So we find it quite important to make sure the kids are keeping active, and the disabled kind of element of the community have got that kind of resources we can offer to keep them going, mentally active as well as physically, which is, I think, is very important.
Definitely, really important. And there is only so, let's be honest, there's only so many walks you want to go on. There's only I can see kids getting dragged behind their mums and dads going, another walk, another walk, another walk round the block for us. And you're right. It's I think getting a bit more creative and getting them engaged in the exercise, and hopefully that's immense. I suppose the long term plan for kids, forcing them to be active. Now we spoke a little bit just before we pressed record, just around homeschooling. Please don't repeat what I said. So we spoke, or if you want, you can. We spoke a little bit beforehand about homeschooling. There's a number of our teams are stuck at home trying to pretend to be teachers right now. I'm luckily stuck in an office, and my wife is doing a tremendous job of it at the moment. But how are you guys finding it?
Go on, Scott, I'll let you go first.
Not too bad. I think, like most of us, we've kind of handed over the majority of that to a better halves, so to speak. So it's been kind of, even though I was a teacher for 12 years up until January, where I came up to the club full time. So it's kind of second nature to slip back into the teaching role. When it's 4 of your own kids, and they can take liberties and they can just run off from the table and go and hide under the bed or whatever. It's a bit more difficult. I'd rather teach 30 of somebody else's kids than 4 of my own.
You're right there.
It's I jump in every now and again. On my eldest has started high school, so I'm kind of helping her out a lot with some of the advanced stuff. But like you just said, better halves kind of taken over the majority and doing the primary school stuff. Even though I was a primary school teacher for 10 years, they've kind of split it up. Four kids are quite hard to handle, so as much as we can kind of divide that up, but she's taking the lion's share.
I tell you what, my respect for you just gone up. 4 kids, homeschooling is on a different level. I was doing a Zoom call.
5 kids, not.
I was doing a Zoom call the other day, and my child walked past with a Thor helmet on and a Thor hammer, and trying to smash me over the head with it. And do you know what? Nobody on the call even batted an eyelid. They didn't even raise an eyebrow. They just were like, he's still at home homeschooling it, doing well in the Kennedy household.
The norm, isn't it? It's the normal.
Totally. Sean, how's yours going, mate? Are you managing to lock yourself in a changing room in the stadium?
Yeah.
From them
T saying I have got work. No, my eldest two are pretty good. They're both at high school, so they kind of look after themselves. My wife's too. Again, she's working from home, so she's looking after the youngest. The youngest, you do have to actually sit down and make her do stuff. She won't do it. She needs someone on her. But the elder two are at high school. They both can crack on their own. But yeah, I think one of the hardest things is been finding stuff for them to do after school, and just go, all teenage boys want to be on the computer, and there's not. As much as I want to tell him get off it, there's nothing he can't really
do. To do.
So he's just trying to, and he's not. He's at an age where he's not keen on coming for walks with us.
Is he teaching you Fortnite at all, or are you not even allowed in?
I passed up on the Xboxes about 4 or 5 years ago when he started beating me.
I've got a question sent in from one of the regional managers, Jack Wilson, one of our best regional managers. Jack will thank me for that later. Did you ever consider following your uncle Andy Farrow into rugby union?
He's not my uncle, my brother-in-law.
Sorry, brother-in-law.
Oh, that's all right.
Jack.
That's all right. He's no, to be honest, I haven't really. I've never really gone looking for that opportunity to do that, and I've never had nobody come looking from union. So the actual opportunity never really arose at any time. So it was never something. I've had chances to move to other league clubs and things like that, but union was never really on the radar.
Were you ever tempted to go to leave Wigan? You've been, I think, epitomised loyalty in the sense of the word that 450 caps, sort of man and boy. And was there ever a moment that you just?
There's been a few times, kind of Australian clubs where I've given it a lot of consideration. Like, for me personally, I've never really wanted to go looking for it. I tried to find something. I was quite happy playing here, and kind of I wanted my kids to grow up and see the grandparents and all that kind of thing. I wanted quite close to family, and I wanted it to keep it that way. But I think when the opportunities come on, you still gotta consider it. And I did a few times. Probably the nearest I was in 2012, and it was Sean Wayne's first year when he first got the head job. So we had a bit of an awkward conversation when I told him somebody coming off of your contract.
But that went well.
He's like, first year. No, push comes to shove, I've always wanted to be here, and the club, luckily, they've always wanted me here as well. So it's worked out, mutual agreements.
Brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Right, guys, you've been amazing. I want to finish in just a 60 seconds, so I'll fire it. Start with Sean, and then I'll go to Scott. The quickest and first answer that comes in your head. Don't worry, it's not that bad. Sean, celebrity crush.
Holly Willoughby.
Nice. Scott, celebrity crush.
Carl Vorderman.
Mine was Kelly Jones from the Stereophonics.
Yeah.
I think
A bit of brain and a bit of I don't know. Don't ask.
Carol Vorman, mate. Good. Yeah, I like that. Scott, if you could change your name to anything, what would you change it to?
Bill Gates. Sign myself a few checks.
Not get his bank balance.
Sean, what's your most annoying habit?
Do you know what? It's not a change in anyone, but when I left hospital as a kid, I was Liam for about 4 days, I think, before they changed my name.
Do you still answer to it if somebody shouts at the pub, or do you just?
No.
Brilliant. Sean, your most annoying habit?
Bite my nails.
Same. Scott?
Yeah, mine. Chew them to bits.
Terrible, isn't it? It's minging, I think, is the best one. Scott, who inspires you?
My players, 100%. Yeah, I don't ask them to do anything I can't do, and I try and do stuff that they can do, and they beat me every time. So yeah, look up to them a lot.
Yeah, answer, mate. Sean, who's your inspiration?
I think my family's always been there, like your kids and your parents, your partners. But I think as a player, it was always players what played in my role growing up. Blokes like Ellie Allen, Phil Clark, Andrew Farrell, them kind of people who who had the 13 jersey. Really, they were the kind of people try to emulate.
Most famous person in your phone book, Sean?
Oh, Jesus. I don't know. I think I've got Brad Wiggles' number.
No.
I might have. I'm not 100% sure on that. Unless it's probably changed it since I got it.
Can we get him on next week?
He's probably not got my number.
He'll probably say, "Who's this?" Scott, how would you like to be remembered?
Like to be remembered. Passionate, interesting, funny, caring, and I don't want to be remembered for a long time yet, but yeah, still alive.
Not right now.
Yeah.
Right, last. There's actually two. One for you, Sean. Don't reach through the telly and punch me. You're playing 9. Who would you want outside you at 10? Owen Farrell or Finn Russell?
When you said 10, then I was thinking of a prop.
Oh yeah, sorry. You're playing Union at 9.
Definitely Owen Farrell.
We'll cut that out again. That's two in a row. We need to cut that out and edit it. Right. Last one. This is a bit of a funny one, but so last week I did that sort of Q&A, and my wife has got in when I'm not looking, and she's written at the bottom of it, should he shave his beard off? And I sort of agreed that if and I can just tell the answer already, so I'm over the moon. So I agreed that if across the series of guests that come on, the vote went one way or the other, it would come off or it would come on. So, mate, just do me a turn here, would you? Sean, shave off, shave beard or keep?
Keep.
Scott, don't do me down now, pal.
No, definitely a keep.
Yes.
100%.
We're on 3-0. My wife is. We should really fit for that. Guys, look, your time's precious. You've both been amazing. Also, I think there's a little bit of a special thanks to Nathan, who's in the background, but he's put his camera off because he said his beard isn't good enough. But Nathan, thank you very much from the GymGroup for setting this up with the guys. It's been absolutely brilliant, really informative, and hopefully not too boring. The other thank yous from our one of our main partners is Matrix Fitness, and that's Julian and Matt from Matrix Fitness for helping link it up. I know you guys have got a pretty strong partnership with Matrix, and as do we. So thanks again to all of those. So guys, look, thanks very much. Good luck with the forthcoming both seasons. I hope it's successful, but I'll be looking on the results, and fingers crossed we can get back to some normality soon.
Cheers, pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Listen, thanks guys. Catch up with you soon.